Hi, I'm Lauren Schramm from Commercial Observer. We're here in Las Vegas for ICSC RECon, and we're talking to retail pros about how they are navigating this challenging retail environment.
I think one of the most important things that we're seeing today and talking about today in this convention is really and truly what is the role of bricks and mortar versus what is the role of the internet, e-commerce, just the omni-channels. And I think that's the real answer, is that just like life, there should be a balance. And what I have found with my clients is that the internet is leading them to bricks and mortar, and the bricks and mortar leads them to internet.
The most important thing now for real estate transactions, retail transactions, is that things are different. So historically, most deals were simple in terms of term and increases and rent, and now we're seeing a lot more flexibility. We're seeing different structures, we're seeing percentage rent, we're seeing landlords partner up with tenants. There's a little bit of a more open mind to creative structures. A good example of a creative deal is Gucci in Soho. They did a deal where they have flexibility on term, and they were able to go in there and do something a little unique, and that landlord appreciated Gucci coming to Soho and gave them the flexibility to be successful, test it out, and stay long term. So I think that's a perfect example of a smart retailer who is very strong right now. Gucci brand is on fire. And a landlord who understood that to really get that space activated, you had to play ball with them. And I think it's a great example. I mean, that store is mobbed.
We're obviously in a cycle, as we have been many times over, in terms of a high rent scenario, and the rents are starting to come down, and that's all fine and great. And there are still circumstances where rents need to come down as much as 30, 50, in some cases maybe 70% in order for velocity to pick up in New York City. I think in terms of retail in general, it's sort of a bow tie effect. At the very high end, in the luxury segments, retail's becoming more about personalization, concierge, really knowing everything there is to know about the customer and catering to his or her every whim. At the very low end of the bow tie, it's all about driving down cost, creating efficiency, and basically getting the goods to the person as fast as possible, as cheaply as possible. And usually those goods are commodity goods, whether they're paper towels or Heinz ketchup or Tide detergent. But they can also be Levi's jeans or other items that have a standard sort of fit and finish. And in the middle of the bow tie, that's the dangerous part, because that's the middle is the part that's shrinking. So if you're high end, that's great. If you're low end, that's great. If you're in the middle, not so great.
Where do I start? Extra free time, preferred rent in the beginning, no escalations for the first few years. I'm seeing a trend where fashion stores once were, and they're closed. Now the landlords are offering to build the infrastructure for a restaurant, install venting, give TI for certain things like hoods and other infrastructure that a restaurant would need. Oh, it's absolutely a tenant's market.
It's much more a tenant-driven negotiation.
For the first time in at least my career, 25 years, a cash contribution has become sort of it's here, and it's like prevalent in the deals that are happening now in the city. I mean, is it happening in a 1,000-foot food user on a side street? It's not. But if it's a tenant that is substantial, and it could be 4,000 or 5,000 square feet, but it's a tenant that a landlord feels is paying a very good rent and also has longevity, then there's cash out there. I happen to be working on a deal right now where it was an older building, it was redeveloped, they wanted a restaurant, and they put in all of the black iron, the venting to the roof, the air conditioning is in there, the electric is in there. I mean, and a restaurant they use tremendous amounts of power. The utilities are, over the top compared to a dry use retailer. and yet, landlords are preparing for this.
It's a tenant's market, so they're asking for the world. They're asking for lots and lots of free rent. They're asking for their stores to be built for them in some cases. In some cases, they're asking for kickouts, not just mutual kickout, but unilateral kickouts. And I think with a lot of the more expensive leases, they will be asking for multiple release valves, multiple kickouts along the way, so that if they're committing to a 15-year lease or a 20-year lease, there might be a kickout at the end of year 3, at year 6, at year 7, at year 10, at year 15, so that if things go south, there's basically a way to get out of the lease without having to incur a huge liability.
It's going through a change right now.
On Madison Avenue, we all know we have a lot of vacancies. And people ask me every day who live on the Upper East Side, they'll say to me, what is happening to Madison Avenue? And I think what's happening is that landlords have to understand that retailers have to make money. And if the rents go too high, the rent and occupancy percentage become prohibitive, and it means that the retailer really, really cannot make a profit. Levi is doing spectacularly. They redid their Soho store a few months ago before the end of the year, and their sales have been phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal. And they're in Soho on Broadway. You can't be more Soho than where they are.
Well, the second act in Soho is a real phenomenon, and we've seen the past 2 years a lot of retailers signing leases and now finally opening, and it's had a domino effect. And Gucci at Wooster Street did a great job. I mean, that store is very unique and it's drawn a lot of people. Hermes is under construction, and we've seen a lot of other retailers are now touring, and Soho has seen more leasing done in the last 2 years than 4 years before that. So I think rents reset, and tenants have taken advantage of that.